There are 2 articles of impeachment. One for not enforcing.
Okay, so I go back to my run on Battletech. We just scored a mission here. We're on our way. It's not a big one. It's 1 skull. I still need practice. So that's why I'm going for the lower ones.
Democrats say Republicans are weaponizing impeachment before the election. It's what Republicans are doing here today. They won't be. Republicans accuse Democrats of initiating the votes and so prevail when Fox is told. 3 Republicans who are skeptical about impeachment. Right? Look at the numbers. Jeff Berger. Up next, one of the country's most high-profile businessmen who advocates for progressive employment policies may be facing discrimination lawsuits. When I first learned about my Dupuytren's contracture, my physician referred me to a hand specialist. And I'm glad he did, because when I took the tabletop test, I couldn't lay my hand flat at him. The first hand specialist I saw only surgical, so I went to a second hand specialist who offered non-surgical options, which felt more right for me. So what I'd say to other people with Dupuytren's contracture is this: don't wait. Find a hand specialist trained in non-surgical options today. I found mine at findahandspecialist.com. Mental toughness is no match for, Donuts were my kryptonite.
Yeah, I can.
What is going on in campus?
Got it. Copy that.
On my way.
The Jewish kids are hiding in their dorm, afraid to go to class. To see Palestine must be free. That was allowed to be set on campus. How did we get to this point? Can we stand up to it? Poison and P-Hexen, streaming now on Fox Station. Sign up at foxstation.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may look like other money managers, but we're different. You can't be that different. We are. We have a team of specialists not only in investing, but also in financial and estate planning and... Your clients rely on you for all that? Yes, and as a fiduciary, we always put their interests first.
But you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, we have a simple management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Huh. We're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
I attend you diabetes, but I manage it right. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily joy and each day starts. And something on me, lowering my
After type 2 diabetes and lower heart disease, Jordan can lower the risk of cardiovascular death.
Serious side effects may include ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function, congenital yeast or urinary tract infections, a rare life-threatening bacterial infection, and mosquitoperitoneum can occur. Stop drugs and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of infection in your legs or feet. Taking Jardies with sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
is really soft, a little pill with a big story.
Sleep number smart methods. Each choose your individual furnace and comfort your sleep number setting. And actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side. Save 50% on the sleep number limited edition smart bed. Plus 0% interest for 36 months on select smart beds. Ends Monday. Only at Sleep Number.
This bakery needs new equipment fast to keep up with demand, so they're going to OnDeck, the online equipment that makes it easy to choose your loan and get funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is OnDeck.
Waiting on you, Commander. Moving out.
A racer for the first name. For people who want to start their day feeling smooth and soft, thanks to 5-star blades and a lubricating strip now for as low as $2 a blade. Aries, available in stores and online at aries.com/shade.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch sold for less than $20. Go to DealDash.com and see how much you can save.
A South Carolina-based ocean exploration company says it may have found the airplane that Amelia Earhart built for the 1937 expedition. The CEO of that company says he believes the sonar image is Earhart's lucky strip. Earhart was trying to become the flight of the globe, and she disappeared in 1937. Many had disappeared near Howland. Elon Musk says the first human genetic implant is recovering from Sunday's procedure. It is the first in-human trial of the company's wireless brain-computer interface.
Roger.
The device is designed to help paralyzed people control external devices with thoughts. Musk says the link, which is called telepathy, may also allow people to control their phone, computer, and other devices with their minds. Maybe I need one. One of the company's prominent businessmen continues to promote the use of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. A suitcase about building Fox Business correspondent who tells us what kind of trouble we may be in.
Good evening, everyone. Mark Cuban is a staunch defender of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, but now some employment lawyers warn Cuban could be a target for discrimination lawsuits after the billionaire described his hiring practice in a post on X. Quote, I've never hired anyone based exclusively on race, gender, or religion.
Good to go.
I only ever hire the person that will put my business in the best position to succeed. And yes, race and gender can be part of that equation. More than 5.5 million people have seen the post, including Equal Employment Opportunity Commissioner Real Lucas, who replied,
Shit.
quote, unfortunately, you're dead wrong. As a general rule, race/sex can't even be a motivating factor, nor a plus factor, tiebreaker, or tipping point. Lucas told Fox Business the law is crystal clear on that point.
I like to say,
Sheep for
we're
fuck.
the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, not the Equitable Outcomes Commission. Big distinction between equity and equality. If your DEI program is about equity and it's about race-based decision-making that you're just describing as group discrimination, yes, that's violating the law.
3 years ago, many companies rushed to implement diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, but now the policies are in retreat, and DEI-related job postings dropped 63% last year, according to ZipRecruiter. Mark Cuban did not respond to our request for a comment, but did reply to Commissioner Lucas on X, saying, quote, smart people can disagree on these issues. Right back to you.
All right, Lydia, thank you. Up next, the panel on the expected U.S. response to the latest attack on American troops and the police force border situation. First, what some Fox affiliates around the country are covering tonight. WSBN in Miami as 4 people are killed in a city on Florida's Space Coast. Authorities say a shootout at a family birthday party in Palm Bay also led 2 officers injured. The gunman was killed by police. No motive for that shooting has been announced. Fox 5 in New York, as the city council there votes on a bill that would require police officers to guess and write down the age, race, and gender of every person they encounter during an investigation. Officers also would have to report the reason for the interaction and the circumstances that led to the stop of the person. And this is a live look at Los Angeles from Fox 11, our affiliate there. One of the big stories there tonight, retired space shuttle Endeavour was carefully hoisted to be mated to a huge external fuel tank and its 2 solid rocket boosters. The display will be at a Los Angeles museum. The building will be constructed around the exhibit before it opens. That's tonight's live look outside the Beltway from a special report. We'll be right back.
Roger that. On for physical attack.
If you struggle with CPAP, you should check out Inspire.
I think I hit something good. Waiting for orders.
Inspire, sleep apnea innovation. Learn more and view important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
The right age for nutrition retinol?
That's what you want it to be.
It has germ-proven retinol.
That targets vital cell turnover, even skin tone, and sweet spine lines.
Nice.
Visible results in just 1 week. Neutrogena retinol.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance and I saved hundreds.
That's great. I know I've been telling everyone.
Never. How many people did you tell? Only paid for what you need.
What's my safe light story? I'm a photographer, and when I'm driving, I see inspiration right through my glass. So when my windshield cracked, it had to be fixed right. I scheduled with Safe Light Auto Glass. Their experts replaced my windshield and recalibrated my car's advanced safety system. Safe Light is the one I trust. They focus on safety, so I can focus on this view.
Safe Light repair, Safe Light replace.
Fashion moves fast. So we partner with Verizon to take our operations to the next level.
Custom private 5G network.
We get more control of production, efficiencies, and greater agility.
That's enterprise intelligence.
It's your vision. It's your Verizon. For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile. And the ones who get in early, so everyone can go home on time. There's Granger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts, so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Chris came to TurboTax.
I switched gears from delivering part-time to streaming full-time.
So I made the moves count, filing with 100% accuracy and guaranteeing the maximum refund. Intuit TurboTax.
When my doctor gave me Breasttree for my COPD, things changed for me. Breasttree gave me better breathing, symptom improvement, and reduced flare-ups.
Breasttree won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. It is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Don't take Breasttree more than prescribed. Breasttree may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
Ask your doctor about Breasttree.
From pep in their step to shine in their coats, when people switch their dog's food to the farmer's dog, the effects can seem like magic. But there's no magic involved. It's just smarter, healthier pet food. It's amazing what real food can do.
I'm Andrea, and this is why I switched to Shopify. It gave me so much peace of mind. If we make a change, my site's not going to go down. Just knowing that I have a platform that we can rely on, that is cool.
This is gonna be
For
good.
your free trial.
And stay down.
Everybody talks about how hard it is to get
Good to
older.
go.
And I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm telling you it can be easier. I know it seems like this world's getting more and more out of control, so it's all the more important that we take control of our own lives and our own health. What I do is I pray, and then I take balance in nature, because it's so simple. 3 capsules of the fruits and 3 capsules of the veggies, and I'm done for the day. I've been taking it now for 2 years, and I can't tell you the difference it's made in my life.
Target's
Take
taking a
control of
critical
your
hit.
health, take control of your life. Start with balance of nature. Give it a shot. You won't be sorry.
Our New Year's offer will end on January 31st. Order today to get 35% off plus a free Vibrant Spice supplement with your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code BOOM.
How much blame do you put directly on Tehran?
Well, actually, look, we are not here in position, to do the blame game. Iran is our neighbor. We continue having an open communication with them. We always talk to them about encouraging all the parties in the region to de-escalate and to put down the tension and not to increase that tension and escalate the talk.
Preface for covering our interview talking about Iran and proxies attacking U.S. forces, including those U.S. troops killed just the other day. They also said there is a framework for negotiation for hostage release, exchange for ceasefire, but it is evolving.
Shit.
Goes. Let's begin our panel. Fox News at Night anchor Chris Gow.
To go.
Fox News senior political analyst Juan Williams and Molly Hemingway, editor-in-chief at Federalist. Trace, good to see you.
Thank you, Rick.
So what do you think of those answers? Obviously, they're kind of trying to walk tiptoe through the tulips here. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And you brought up a couple of times in the interview, you talked about boiling over, the Middle East boiling over, dancing on the edge, and you said, what do you blame for that? And he's thinking, well, we're not in the blame game thing. And then he went on to say, but really it's been the past 100 days, meaning it's Israel. So they're blaming Israel, and you said you blame Iran, and you heard the soundbite there and saying, well, look, we're neighbors with Iran, we're not playing the blame game and stuff. But there's clearly, him saying, but I think cooler heads need to prevail. As we went on to say when you're talking about the United States, retaliating against them.
And so we heard from the president today, Molly, it was loud in the background, but he says he's made a decision.
Yes.
I do hold a response in the sense of the supply of the weapons.
Engaging target. Enemy Mechs destroyed.
I am never a
I
big
hear
fan
ya.
of the Marine One interview, yelling at
Don't even
questions.
tell me twice.
But you heard the answers. He says he's made the decision. What do you make of that and where we are?
All day today, the Biden administration was loudly talking about how there would be some kind of reaction. I think a lot of people would like us to do whatever we need to do without a lot of stigma ahead of it.
Talking about
Right, just be quiet but get it done. But it does speak to this larger issue. In the previous administration, very different foreign policy. Joe Biden made a big production about how he was moving away from that foreign policy. What we had during the Trump administration was an era of peace increasing. If anything was escalating, it was peace. And now we have this situation with the Biden administration, where all of the escalation is toward war in multiple different regions. And it seems like all of the things that are happening are also serving to keep the Biden administration's eye off the ball, as in terms of focusing on China, which is a threat that only this country is aware of, and just further getting embroiled in other situations. But this obviously does need, this is a provocation.
it needs a response, but in Tehran or in Iran or someplace else.
Well, and that's what's also disconcerting. The Biden administration has pivoted toward Iran, away from Saudi Arabia, which the previous administration had pivoted towards Saudi Arabia. And that cozying up with Iran has not worked out well. You saw in the Trump administration, when Iran was misbehaving, there was a precision strike that kind of took care of the situation. Strong national defense without getting us embroiled in a lengthy and expensive war.
She's right. The Qasem Soleimani thing stopped a lot of Iran. Plus, they did have a lot of sanctions, the Trump administration, on Iran that kind of squelched a lot of their activity. Where do you think we stand?
Well, I think it stopped Iran in terms of development of nuclear weapons. I mean, that's the problem as we sit here tonight. And this larger issue, and I think you touched on this in the interview from Mr. Qatar, is that, Israel remains a stumbling block even in terms of the short-term effort to have a ceasefire and have the Israeli hostages returned, because he opposes the establishment of a Palestinian state with Palestinian authorities. Speaking of that. So that's the problem. So if you're asking about response, you're really talking about the Biden administration, and they're interviewing saying, I want a deal. We want some kind of deal that would de-escalate, that would calm the tensions, the boiling pot that they were referring to. What do you do in terms of military action? Well, your number one goal, it seems to me, is to send a very clear message to the Iranians and to their proxies that you do not hurt Americans. You don't mess with the United States of America, that we're big, and we can beat you. So don't do that. We don't want a war. And you don't say you don't want a war, so stop your war.
He said that once.
Right. He said don't.
He said don't.
No, I think the Iranians said it too, right? But apparently now I think we reached a point. This is what the point to me is about.
Mission
You can't
successful.
you can't hurt Americans. But I think the second thing is any military action has to be about an end of achieving some kind of peaceful end to the war between Israel and the Palestinians with a two-state deal.
I mean, there's a lot of that.
Soleimani was in Iraq, remember? Well, not Iran. So the question is, do you go after Iran? And if you go after Iran, will they escalate this thing? So the Soleimani thing was a big deal, and they didn't live up to the threat they came back.
I want to go back to, unfortunately, the sound from Grade 1. This has to do with the immigration question about the border.
Not all I can do. Just give me the power. I've asked for the very day I let it off. Give me the orders for that. Give me the people who stop this and make it work now.
Well, this one seems pretty easy because I've done all I can do. Yes, on day one, there were 94 executive orders that overturned all of the policies the Trump administration has in place. He hasn't done all he can do.
He's done all he can do to open the border, and all of these things were done through executive action, a removal of policies that were put in place piece by piece over the course of the previous administration. He was very clear when he ran for office that he wanted to open up the border, and then he set about doing it on day one. And it wasn't like this border situation just happened. It took a lot of work into tearing down everything that was done in terms of our work with Mexico and having them make sure that they did what they could on their side of the border. He's saying this because he wants to pretend that this bill is what he needs in order to, that he's passing the buck in terms of what has caused the problem. He has all the authority he needs right now. There's no need for a bill to give him more authority, particularly when he witnessed ignoring it.
Trace, you're in a state that deals with the border. You're out west. Are people buying this, that it's all about this bill?
No, because they know that he could put remain in Mexico back in place tomorrow if he wanted to. He could stop catch and release, and he could start building the wall again. All these things, he asked for authority from Congress. He's got executive authority. He's got executive orders he can.
No, but the fact is that he's using it politically.
Yeah, but Trump was there. Trump didn't use executive authority to stop it. The wall didn't get built. Look,
he did remain in Mexico. He didn't do much release.
That was about COVID, and the courts have said you can't do that anymore in the absence of a medical emergency. And under this bill, not revealed yet, but we know it'll allow a shutdown of the border in cases of excessive surge.
Right, and I don't think people are going to buy 5,000 a day. I just don't think that's going to happen. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. Panel, thanks so much. We'll see you tonight. All right, tomorrow's special report, we'll talk to former Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin about all of this, plus the U.S. economy. Thanks for inviting us into your homes tonight. That's it for this special report. Got to let us not in. Fair, balanced, and still unafraid. Good morning.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingram. This is the Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. An American tragedy. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Right shortly after that nightmare attack Sunday on U.S. service personnel in Jordan, Republicans rushed out to demand that Biden launch a significant military retaliation against Iran. Now, the loss of these three patriots is both heartbreaking and enraging. And while the impulse to avenge their deaths is understandable, we cannot afford another protracted conflict in the Middle East. And even if we could, we can't rely on this woke series of dimwits at the Biden Pentagon to deliver anything resembling victory. After all, has Biden's top military brass had success wargaming Ukraine? Even tracking our munitions there? And how did Million Austin manage that Afghanistan withdrawal again? To this day, after 13 U.S. service personnel were left vulnerable, then blown to bits, Biden has held no one in his administration accountable. No one. But of course, he was busy because his focus was on more important things, such as advocating for transgenderism in the military.
Transitioning has allowed me to be better as a leader. I've gotten rid of the distraction of worrying about concealing whoever it was.
Fox had to rely on private insurance to cover her surgery, but from now on, the military will cover the cost of sex change operations approved by a doctor. Our doctors will treat them and give them the medically necessary treatment according to the protocols.
I'll get it in the schedule. The protocols? And they also put new protocols in place to clear out extremists, meaning Trump supporters, from the military too.
Extremism is not tolerated in any branch of the United States military.
If our law enforcement partners flag an individual based on their determination that they see something and they pass it to us, we're not even asking what the flag was. We're just removing them.
Well, the message was loud and clear. It was delivered that the biggest threat we faced as a nation came from Trump supporters, especially those with military training.
The cry for survival comes from the planet itself. A cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear now.
What's up, boss?
The rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat.
Well, there's 6 social justice projects in the
Damn
military.
introduction. I think we got pilots anyways.
Shortfall in military recruitment, which itself puts our troops at risk. Well, not that they care. Now, this partly explains how America's military became such an easy target. But specific questions have to be answered, like, how is it, despite our sophisticated air defenses, did a drone manage to penetrate an army outpost? And why is a unit of Army reservist engineers stationed so close to Syria in the first place? Did Biden and Austin even stand before reporters and answer questions about this? No, that's doubtful. So why should we trust them to carry out massive airstrikes on Iran? Now, we reflexively call ourselves a superpower because of our nukes. But I think it's worth asking, do superpowers commit economic and cultural suicide like America has? Our enemies aren't worried about Biden's response to this latest attack. They've been watching us. They're already emboldened. The Chinese spy balloon odyssey eliminated any doubt that Biden was another Jimmy Carter. He is. And 2 years after Biden pledged to isolate Russia by supporting Ukraine, Putin's more popular than ever, and Russia's GDP is growing. 4 years after China unleashed COVID-19 and killed hundreds of thousands with fentanyl, and President Xi still has Biden dancing to his tune. Now, we lost our way and our leverage along the way because this is the world that the globalists always wanted, where America had no right to be self-sufficient, had no right to be wealthy, where we gutted our manufacturing base and our middle class along with it. A world where we attack our own energy independence, apologize for it even, and then stick the taxpayers with the bill. A world where we leave our own border open, but go into debt and have our grandchildren go into debt to enforce other countries' borders. A world where post 9/11, we added $29 trillion to our national debt. Think about it. A world where we teach our children to hate our founders and much of our own history. These are not the actions of a superpower capable of taming Iran or getting Russia to bend to our will. This instead is a slow-rolling American tragedy. And I hate saying this, it pains me to say this, but we are not the country we used to be. We are much weaker economically, we are much weaker culturally, spiritually, and we're much weaker geopolitically than we were 20 years ago, or even 4 years ago. And the more money and the more resources we give to President Biden and his team of incompetence, the weaker we will become. So until we get a brand new president, bad things are going to continue to happen. There is really nothing we can do about that at this point. But what we can do, and what we must do, is prevent the Biden team from doing any more harm by getting us into foolish military adventures that will just result in more heartbroken American families. And that's the angle. Joining me now is Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Senator, there's an impulse among some in the Senate, Republicans usually, to say, go get them, level them, take them out, massive strikes now. And I get that because you want to smash anyone who harms a single American. But what are we really facing here?
Well, Laura, we have to remember there's a big difference between hitting them back and hitting them back so aggressively that we invite an escalation here that could lead to a war that we're simply not prepared for as a country. The fundamental fact, Laura, these guys have got to wake up to is that America, thanks to the decisions that have been made over 20, 30 years, but especially during the Biden administration, is that we are weaker now than we have ever been. You do not lumber into a massive conflict or 2 or 3 conflicts simultaneously when you're at your low point. What you do, Laura, is you smartly rebuild, you elect a new president to replace the disaster that we have in the White House, and then you project American power from there. These guys have got to remember, we do not have Donald Trump in the Oval Office. We have Joe Biden in the Oval Office, and that means that we have to be cautious about how we respond to this moment.
There was a Pentagon briefing today, if that's what you can call it, and a reporter actually asked an important question about the Secretary of Defense. Why?
Is there any update on whether Secretary Austin will come and talk to us sometime soon?
I don't have a date to announce. Certainly aware of the request, and we'll keep you updated.
No wonder they didn't miss him when he was gone for a week. I mean, this is unbelievable. Just that fact that Austin cannot stand and answer questions after we have 3 Americans dead, 40 wounded, and apparently some of them severely wounded. That says it all. And Republicans are like, oh, go get him, Joe. What? He can't even answer a question.
Yeah. Oh, Laura, it's so absurd. What is the Secretary of Defense doing? Is he able to actually discharge his duties? These are some of the most important questions that we should be asking, Laura. But there is so much going on here. How did we possibly have 3 Americans, potentially many, many more, who are at risk on the Jordan-Syria border? What were they doing there? Is it actually necessary to have them there, or are they sitting ducks and fighting people or countries like Iran to come and attack our people? There are just so many important questions that we're not even asking. And Laura,
well, that's what I said. It's supposed to find out, right? I mean, you guys are there as an oversight role. Like, I would expect the Senate would want to know, what are these bases for? Are they really necessary? Are they advancing America's interests? If so, how? How much is it costing? Can we afford it? And how many more Americans are going to have to die before we all agree that Biden and his team are a bunch of incompetents?
Yeah, Laura, and there are about 10 of us that are asking these questions, and everybody else, I think, is living in the past fundamentally, Laura. They're living in a world where America still had the world's most powerful manufacturing economy. They're living in a world where we didn't empower the rise of communist China, and they're living in a world where we have a strong president when, in fact, we have the weakest president in an American generation sitting in the Oval Office. These guys have got to wake up, Laura. We've got to rebuild our country. We've got to go back to some common sense first principles. Instead, what these guys are doing is pretending they're living in a world that just doesn't exist anymore.
Now, there's a reason it's called peace through strength. It's not peace through weakness, economic weakness. You have to be strong at home, or you're not going to be able to do much abroad. By the way, at the Pentagon yesterday, the Deputy Press Secretary, Sabrina Singh, was asked another key question.
Are you willing to say the conflict is going to be contained and it's spreading?
I wouldn't say that the conflict is spreading in that we've seen over 100 attacks on U.S. forces. This attack was certainly escalatory in that it killed 3 service members.
It's not spreading on troops literally died in another country.
We can't discount the fact that these attacks are incredibly dangerous, put our service members at risk, but they have not, up until yesterday, inflicted lethal harm.
I mean, Senator, I don't even know what to say about that performance yesterday, but this is Mickey Mouse Club.
Laura, of course the conflict is spreading, and these people are completely asleep at the wheel. You know what we haven't talked about, Laura? The fact that we face a massive recruitment challenge because America's military leadership is going to war with the American population culturally. We've got a lot of crises, Laura. It's time to rebuild. It's time to get a new president.
Yeah, that's the only way it's going to happen, Senator. Thank you. All right, well...
The forces that were, the 3 soldiers that were killed, again, as I've highlighted, they were there in support of Operation Inherent Resolve, supporting the defeat ISIS mission.
The New York Times revealing what the Pentagon seems reluctant to admit, that the soldiers killed were part of an engineer reserve company from Georgia. Now, engineer reserve soldiers are deployed at short notice to build roads and landing fields for U.S. forces, which raises the question, again, what are engineering reservists doing in Syria? Joining us now is retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis at Defense Priorities and host of the Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Lieutenant Colonel, building roads and infrastructure. What are we doing in the Middle East?
Look, I mean, those bases have been there for a long time. I mean, if there's anything more to build, it should have already been done because they really haven't been. That's the big question. And then what are they actually doing? Are they just, well, I can tell you what actually most of them are doing. They're just sitting out in the middle of the desert waiting to see if they're going to get killed. And that's exactly what happened here. There is no, I don't care what anybody can says, there is no valid military mission that the United States did any of those troops are doing in Iraq and in Syria. And the longer we keep them there, the more of these caskets are probably going to come back to Dover.
The saddest thing is to hear that these men and women were in there sleeping, most of them, and this drone hit killed those 3, injured others. They didn't know anything was coming. And it does remind me of 1983, obviously much smaller loss of life. But Ronald Reagan's reaction after 241 Marines were killed, 241 in Lebanon, was not to carpet bomb Lebanon. What did he say?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because everybody wants to talk about what Reagan did when he struck Iran in a certain case on the water, but they never mentioned what he did there, which was the much bigger issue, which was instead of escalating the war, he shut it off, he cut the losses, and he made our country a lot safer, and he ended any of our future losses. So we didn't have any more.
He pulled our people
out, but he brought back and kept them safe. That's what President Biden should have done years ago. He definitely should do it now.
Well, Reagan also understood, I think, in 1983, we were not yet the economic powerhouse that he wanted us to be. We were still, building our economy. It wasn't really until 87, 88 that things got really started to hum. 84, 85, 86, but yeah, I think it was peace through strength. It wasn't just get involved in every conflict and hope it works out.
He recognized that to build strength for America, we need to not be throwing our money away, our soldiers away, on pointless military missions. Let's preserve it so we can build our actual strength, our economic strength, and our cultural and moral strength, upon which our military strength is even based. And that's what he was focused on, and that's what President Biden, frankly, is not focused on.
You hear the time and place of our choosing. If I, get to do a shot for as many times as you've heard the Pentagon or the White House say that at a time and place of our choosing we'll respond. But there's concern that they're telegraphing kind of what type of response they're going to have actually or inflict militarily. Are you concerned about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what I heard Marla say earlier tonight. We need to just be quiet about this. Make all the plans in the background, and then let them find out when bombs are falling or whoever it's going to be, and then they'll know what's going on, as opposed to having telegraphing it like this. But I just can't get enough, say enough, that we need to stop these pointless missions, because I don't want to hear any more of this nonsense about, we're going to be tough, and we're going to enter the time and place of our choosing, and this whole don't. They kept saying,
that's a policy.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It doesn't deter anybody anything. It doesn't make people think we're strong. But these aren't going to do it either, because they see that these little pinprick strikes we've had have not deterred anything.
What about the Secretary of Defense sitting across the table from the NATO Secretary General yesterday? And he had to read 2 lines. He had to sit and read 2 lines about obviously feeling, a sense of loss about our troops and, how we're going to stand firm. But that was it. Then he moved on to his own, health condition. It was like 2 lines. Then it was, I'm feeling better and I'm going to get back to work.
Well, look, Laura, I think that performance of what happened when he didn't tell the President of the United States that he was going under.
They didn't notice he was gone. Why?
He didn't even tell his deputy.
Yeah, but they didn't notice because he's not consulted.
That's what he should have been resigned. He should have been fired after that. But he should have been fired for a lot of other things. That's just ridiculous.
He's perfect for them. They don't want a real Secretary of Defense. That's my theory on that. Lieutenant Colonel Davis, great to see you in the studio. All right, if you can't beat them, bankrupt them. The media is now cheering on the financial destruction of who they think will be Biden's political opponent, his nemesis, David Schoen and Ari Fleischer. Next.
Commander.
A lot of new dry eye patients in my office tell me about their frequent dry eyes, which may point to dry eye disease. Millions of Americans are estimated to have it. They've tried artificial tears again and again, but the relief is temporary. Xiidra can provide lasting relief.
Xiidra treats the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease. Don't use if you're allergic to something. Common side effects include eye irritation, discomfort, blurred vision when applied to the eye, and unusual taste sensation.
Why wait? After I got to about a 9-day for Zydrates a day.
When these business owners need cash fast, they turn to Biz2 Credit to fund what's next. From fitness studios to medical offices and every small business in between, we've got you covered. Whether you need new equipment, funds to expand, or need money to cover unforeseen business expenses, Biz2 Credit is the trusted partner for your small business funding needs. Scan the code on your screen now or go to biz2credit.com to apply. Biz2 Credit, funding what's next.
My name is Bruce. I play piano. I'm an entertainer, and I play 4 hours a night. I try to bring the best out of the crowd. There's 1,000 people that plan their evening around me, and that's just not for me. I've been taking bouts of interstellar for over 3 years. I feel better. It's amazing.
Happy New Year! Get 35% off plus a free vibrant spice by using discount code Fox News. At SimpliSync, we build advanced security sensors and cameras for your whole home, powered by 24/7 professional monitoring and fast protect technology, exclusively from SimpliSync for faster police response. There's no safe like SimpliSync.
Do you like it hot or soft? We at pretzels.com freshly bake hard and soft pretzels. Join over 212,000 happy customers already obsessed with our 45 chef-crafted varieties and treat yourself or a loved one today. Only at pretzels.com.
Order. Engaging target.
Good job, boy.
I didn't share all this with
Armor Wants You Life. Season 3 here's the fun bucks.
You're going to want to get the door because Jenny Craig is back and better than before. The new Jenny Craig now has free nationwide delivery. The Jenny Craig food is so good. Enjoy delicious food every day while losing weight. Lose up to 24 pounds in just 8 weeks. Losing weight with the new Jenny Craig has never been easier. 50 pounds. I love being a part of Jenny. Take advantage of our special offer. Get $40 off every shift. Order now.
American soldiers under attack. Showdown looming at the Texas border, and your President Joe, well, he's failing on every front. We'll break down the very latest tonight on Anakin.
These politicians never agree.
Armor, Commander.
politics and stresses me out.
You sleep hard, I sleep cool.
I see luxury, I like spending less.
I guess that's why we agreed on this soft amount.
Being American is a soft.
At least we'd be comfortable disagreeing. Sofa, luxury mattresses made affordable.
Let's get in here.
Website with Fiverr. You'll need your web developer, UX writer, and Amy, a Fiverr freelance graphic designer with dozens of 5-star reviews. Join your team from her favorite coffee shop. Instead, expand your team with a Fiverr freelance.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch sold for less than $20. Go to DealDash.com and see how much you can save.
You've talked about using some of Trump's money that you're about to get to help shore up women's rights. Do you know what that might be? What that might look like?
Yes, Rachel. Yes. I had such great ideas for all the good I'm going to do with this money. First thing, Rachel, you and I will go shopping. We're going to get completely new wardrobes, new shoes, motorcycle for plowing, new fishing rod for Robin. Rachel, what do you want? Penthouse. It's yours, Rachel. Penthouse and a France. You want France?
Rachel Maddow was like, oops, shouldn't have asked that question.
Oh,
It's all a joke to them, right? So funny. And the media are playing right along or acting as unofficial co-counsels for the plaintiff. Of course, their overriding goal is to bankrupt Donald Trump into submission.
Location.
Because he's vowing to drain the swamp for real, of course. I often wonder who else could endure what he's had to endure. The press aren't reporting on this through a critical lens. They're cheerleaders. And not just for the plaintiffs, but also for the prosecutors. Actually, to be more accurate, they're like vultures waiting to swoop down when it's all over.
The threats against his wealth are mounting in the face of an $83 million jury award to E.G. Carroll. Forbes' latest estimate is $2.6 billion, but it's unclear how much he has in cash. Judge Arthur Engoron is expected to rule on New York AG Letitia James' request to find Trump $370 million in her civil fraud case against him. On top of that, Trump's mounting legal bills in the 4 criminal cases he now faces.
He may very well put up the $83 million plus 9% interest, kicks him up to about $90 million there, or he can get a bond for 20%. Also, the Trump org, there is a former federal judge, Barbara Jones. She is a monitor at the Trump org pending these appeals because, of course, we know Letitia James wants $370 million.
Did you notice that banner on MSNBC? Trump's cash stockpile at risk. They seem so giddy. Well, their real goal is not to save democracy. It never was. It was to humiliate Donald Trump, to strip him and strip his family of everything they've earned.
He could go run a GoFundMe campaign. Judge Kaplan can direct the Trump properties be sold. And they're not going to sell at the best prices. They're going to sell at buyer sale prices. There's a meme on the internet right now. Renamed E.G. Carroll Tower on Fifth Avenue in New York.
Once he's exhausted his appeals, and if he's lost, he will have to pay. And if not pay, sell properties off.
These are odious people. Joining me now, David Schoen, former Trump impeachment attorney, Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary, Fox News contributor. Ari, it's so obvious what's going on here. I mean, laughing about the penthouse you're going to buy Rachel Maddow. I'm like, isn't that funny? They're so aggrieved for democracy, but they certainly seem to be celebrating.
Well, I think this is the resistance in a steady form. This is the same resistance that Donald Trump met when he came down the escalator in 2015, certainly when he was elected in 2016, and they've never relented. They've used every trick in the book to go after Donald Trump because they fear that the American people might elect him. So they tried to impeach him twice, they tried to prosecute him, they tried to drop his name off the ballot, and now they're trying to financially hit him in the pocketbook. And you use the right words, vulture, cheerleader. That's what the media has become, but it's what they've always been. They've been cheerleaders for all the efforts to get Trump. And this is not about justice. This is about getting Trump.
Actually, David, the AP did look into the Trump civil business fraud case in New York. And writing, after examining over 70 years of civil cases, the AP found that the penalty of dissolving his business empire has only been imposed a dozen previous times, and Trump's case stands apart in a significant way. It's the only big business found that was threatened with a shutdown without the showing of obvious victims and major losses. David, you've been making this point all along. At least the AP was honest in this analysis, unlike all of these other vultures out there. But that kind of tells the tale. No victims except Donald Trump himself.
That's right. It all ties together. It's not just the media. This judge is quoted, Judge Engoron is quoted in the media today saying that he's going to kind of miss this trial. They all gloat in it. What are they gloating about? First of all, I don't know, as you said earlier, how anybody else could take this. The energy President Trump shows is extraordinary. But here you have a case under executive law in New York. No victim, no loss, no materiality required. Still, they claim fraud. You have a forensic accountant that says no loss. You have a bank that's happy with the loans. But what are they gloating about? According to an independent source, Printco, years ago even, President Trump and his organizations were giving jobs to at least 67,000 people. They want those people to lose those jobs. Are they gloating about that? No, it's not gloating. Other people similarly situated. real estate developers, business people who look at what's happening to President Trump in New York and say, there, but for the grace of God, go I, that this should never happen. Article after article, professor after professor, real estate person, business people, this is outrageous to take a man's business that he's built over decades, become an icon around the world. How about the billions, millions, and billions in revenue states and countries will lose if you want to put him out of business? It's absurd.
Yeah, Ari, watching this play out, you have to wonder if there's also a larger message being sent here to anyone thinking about getting into politics who really wants to fundamentally change Washington down on the edges, but really deeply reform the bureaucracy, and Trump will do that if he's in. It's no more Mr. Nice Guy. That's what I think his new slogan should be. So it's a warning shot being fired, is it not?
Well, it's really a takedown shot on Donald Trump, and I think the shrapnel's going to hit other people. You know, in the case of Maine or Colorado, where they're throwing him off the ballot, think what that'll do to Republicans everywhere in those two states. There's no presidential candidate to the top of the ticket. That's going to hurt Republicans throughout up and down the ballot. But you know, think also about where they're bringing these cases. Overwhelmingly lopsided Democratic counties, Manhattan County, New York City, where this case is being heard. 85 to 15 is the regular vote for Manhattan in presidential elections. 85 Democrat, 15 Republican, whether it was Trump, Bush, Romney, or McCain. And that's the only place they can get these convictions. Democratic prosecutors, Democratic juries, Democratic judges. Same thing in Fulton County, Georgia. They're not seeing these cases being brought anywhere where there might be a balanced jury.
The effect is just as noxious. Yeah, but the effect of the forum shopping, the effect is hideous. I mean, it could actually level a devastating blow against him, which is their goal. So the fact that this is even allowed to happen, to me, we have real problems. I wonder if people don't trust the judicial system now. So congratulations, that's what they've accomplished. David and Ari, thank you both. Now, the media has a new puppet to repeat their favorite anti-Trump attacks. I'll explain ahead. Ned Ryan reacts next.
There's some things that were better together,
like your workers' benefits
and retirement savings. Boya helps you choose the right amounts without over or under investment. Across all your benefits, sitting in option. So you can feel confident in your financial choices.
They really know how to put two and two together. Boy, well planned, well invested, well protected.
I am Elmer Heinrich. Our company sells an incredible nutritional supplement called Immuno 150. Now, it contains 17 minerals and 80 additional nutrients. I suggest you try Immuno 150 if you want a chance to be in good health, feel good when you're 89 years old like me, with no arthritis, no heart problems, diabetes, or high blood pressure, dementia, aches or pains of any kind. Now, Immuno 150 contains 8 times more minerals than the average food. Our food's not finished, so we lack minerals. No wonder the world is sick. Now look at the two videos on our website. You will see Immuno 150 is a concise and complete, no nonsense, no hype product. So place your order online or call 888-497-4535. That's 888-497-4535.
Sore throat, Mucinex hits the Zoo sore throat medicated drops. Uniquely formulated for rapid relief that lasts and lasts. Get Mucinex, it's the Zoo. It's the
Type 2 diabetes? Discover the Ozempic Try Some. I got power-free. I lowered my A1C, CV risk, and lost some weight. In studies, the majority of people reached an A1C under 7 and maintained it. I'm under 7. Ozempic lowers the risk of major cardiovascular events such as stroke, heart attack, or death in adults also with known heart disease. I'm lowering my risk. Adults lost up to 14 pounds.
Great.
Ozempic isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't share needles or pens or reuse needles. Don't take Ozempic if you or your family ever had medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2 or are allergic to it. Stop Ozempic and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Gallbladder problems may occur. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes. Taking Ozempic with a sulfonylurea or insulin may increase low blood sugar risk. Side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems. Living with type 2 diabetes?
I'm taking internal damage.
If you have missing teeth, Reset Smile is a life changer.
I used to be afraid to smile, and now I can't stop smiling.
Reset Smile is an affordable way to replace your missing teeth from home at a fraction of the cost of dental implants.
You get an impression kit sent to your home, and you mail it back.
Commander.
No trips to the dentist whatsoever.
They fit my mouth perfectly, the color matched up perfectly. I can eat with Reset Smile just as normal as regular teeth.
The best thing is, you get your confidence back.
Reset your smile. Learn more at resetsmile.com. They line up by the thousands, each one with a story that breaks your heart. Like Rivette, every step brought her pain. Their only hope, Mercy Ships, the largest floating civilian hospital in the world, bringing free surgeries to people who have no other. $19 a month will provide urgently needed surgery for so many still suffering. So don't wait. Call 877-426-9096 or donate at mercyships.org.
And you know this more pronunciation pages. You're not alone. Now you can help improve the appearance of bruises with Dermed Moisturizing Bruise Formula. Help your bruised skin. Find Dermed Moisturizing Bruise Formula now in the first aid aisle.
Waiting for orders.
When Barbara switched to TurboTax,
I grew 4 generations of family tradition with 5 little ones. Son,
I'm under heavy fire.
Standing by.
Getting my business off the ground was a full-time job.
so I made Barbara's new site an account, guaranteeing 100% accurate filing and that's on them. Make your moves, we'll make them count. Intuit TurboTax, 100% accuracy guarantee.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening.
Look, running for president it's a lot. It's physically, emotionally, mentally, it's a lot, right? So you gotta be at the top of your game. Well, he must have been tired because he was giving a speech, and in the speech he went on over and over and over again about how I didn't stop, how I stopped security from going to the Capitol on January 6th.
Well, Nikki Haley, in multiple interviews, ramping up her attacks against Donald Trump, his mental acuity, saying he's just not a shark, playing right to the hands, of course, of the Biden campaign. And right on cue, MSNBC, using what Haley said as fodder for its panel.
Nikki Haley making effective, a Republican making effective attacks on him. She's definitely getting under his skin.
Watch Donald Trump say this stupid thing. Yeah, watch Donald Trump get confused here. He'll be talking to go, Nikki Haley, Nikki Haley, Nikki Haley. They don't stop. Because he's like, wait, that's not the name.
I think Nikki Haley has really gotten under Trump's skin. I think that is part of this effect that we're seeing on him. This confusion, this looking like a loser.
Takes one to know one. Joining me now, American Majority founder and CEO Ned Ryan. Ned, I think we just tortured the audience with those sound bites. So Nikki Haley, there's another soundbite where she actually spoke very specifically about Trump's mental acuity and saying that, he's obviously at 80, everyone loses, a step. He's not 80 yet. Loses a step, and he's not as sharp as he was in 2016. She went on and on in this interview this morning. But she's being played by the left as the useful idiot du jour, is she not?
Yes. Oh, 100%. Nikki Haley is the useful idiot of the left. I mean, not only her rhetoric on this subject, but look at her recent comments on the bogus Carroll case, right out of the DNC playbook, and if you didn't know any better, it came right out of the mouth of Hillary Clinton. Which makes sense when you think about it, Laura, as both Nikki's super PAC and the Carroll case were funded by the leftist Reid Hoffman supporters. But she's also a useful idiot in the fact that there is no world in which Nikki wins the GOP nomination. The fact that she continues to stay in, even though she's going to get completely shut out in Nevada, crushed in South Carolina, come Super Tuesday, going to get completely crushed in such a way that Trump, who wins so many delegates, will be a mathematical impossibility for her to win. This is all patently obvious, yet she continues to stay in. Why? Well, I would again argue her donors like Reid Hoffman, the Kochs, these people who hate Trump, the longer she stays in, the more she damages Trump because she doesn't let the party or the donor base coalesce around Trump and let him focus on the general, all of which helps Biden. And I have to tell you too, Laura, I'm starting to suspect that part of her motivation for staying in is that she hopes the Democratic lawfare works against Trump. And if that's part of her calculation, that makes her completely repulsive. What she should be doing right now, instead of being a useful idiot for the left, is drop out immediately and endorse Trump. But I suspect
she's committing political suicide. Yeah, she's committing political suicide. No one, let me just say this tonight on the Ingram Angle. No one will forget what she's just said today. Forget about last week. Today. And I know Trump is tough, and I would say that Trump should pull back. I wouldn't even discuss Nikki Haley if I were Trump. I would just let her twist in the wind. I wouldn't discuss her. I wouldn't raise her, and talk about her. He's going to swamp her with support in South Carolina. He's going to win South Carolina. She's the candidate of Wall Street. Good. I hope she gets the big job at Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs.
Well, Trump is going to absolutely humiliate the upcoming primaries, but it's just starting to suspect that she's auditioning for something else, maybe to be a whiny rhino MSNBC contributor. Heck, who knows? Maybe even auditioning for a cabinet position, right? But starting to think she's not auditioning for a future in the America First Republican Party. And I totally agree with you. She's committing political suicide right now, and whatever is in her future, it's not a future in the Republican Party.
Well, she could probably get on some corporate boards and get a professorship or a visiting professorship somewhere. That's how these things usually go, and she can make a good living at it.
Yeah, some neocon think tank would be more than happy to accept Nikki Haley, but in the Republican Party, absolutely not. I see no future for her.
It's a shame. She actually could have had a future. She could have kind of just said, okay, the party's changed, and I'm going to change along with it. Ned, thank you. All right. She wants to defund the police, but not her police. An infamous Trump hater, Cori Bush, is in some very hot water. We're going to hit the political and the legal angles with Ben Domenech and Saul Weisenberg next.
I hit that cat outside my house once. It smells like that over there. Made by the monks. The Greeks, once they discovered it, they turned it into a ceremony. The original cocktail of the Sazerac.
They gave a tea break to re-energize.
Coffee runs discussion about philosophy.
We had the best soda place. It was like a throwback.
I thought you were lying. I tell you what, this is very bad. Oh, charlatans! Let's drink our faces. By the way, he does take tips at the end of it.
I never take 2 lumps before dinner. It ruins the appetite.
Do they have DUIs for chariot people? Can I give you some feedback as a bartender? You suck.
I don't expect to look 38 at 58, but I do want to feel great, and I want to look great.
Cerevital is an award-winning beauty supplements at Ulta. Get started today at trycerevital.com.
Ashley's President's Day preview sale is here. Get early access to Hot Buys, your choice just $6.99. Or shop in-store for designer deals as low as $17 per month or $9.99.99 with 0% interest for 5 years with no minimum purchase, in-store only at Ashley.
So many of us have struggled with our weight, and you get to that point where you almost give up. Almost. But don't do that, because you've got Complete 50 from Nutrisystem. A weight loss and wellness plan specifically created for women over 50 that really works.
Complete 50 works along with a woman's metabolism and helps target body fat, especially around the middle. Shown in a clinical study to reduce harmful belly fat by 8% in your first month.
If it wasn't true, they couldn't say it. The Nutrisystem understands just what you need. Complete 50 is designed so you have more calories and carbs early in the day to get the results you want.
Get fully prepared meals and snacks, including hearty inspirations that control your appetite for up to 5 hours.
Let me tell you, I tried a lot of things to lose weight, and I am so glad I tried Nutrisystem, and you can do too.
Order now and get 50% off your first week. Plus, get free shipping with promo code FREE.
Another year of yo-yo dieting? Not this year. Hit reset.
These are my favorite guarantees. I saw the results immediately. I feel amazing.
Soto Bello is not a bad diet or boot camp workout. It's a proven way to remove stubborn body fat permanently and in just one visit.
These fun don't walk to your nearest.
Get $250 off instantly. Call now or go to sonobello.com.
Migrants were supposed to add to the economy. Why are cities begging for migrant bailouts?
Jesse breaks down the growing crisis on the next prime time.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment. Call Coventry Direct to learn more.
We thought we had planned for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
Our friends sold their policy to got me thinking. Maybe selling our policy could help with our retirement.
I see. So I did some research and called Coventry Direct. They explained life insurance is a valuable asset that can be sold.
We learned we could sell all of our policy or keep part of it with no future payments. Who knew? We sold our policy. Now we can relax and enjoy our retirement as we had planned.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies. Or call 1-800-583-6200. Redefining insurance.
So that's how they're so productive. They use Fiverr. Look how quickly they find freelancers. So simple. Yeah, but why are they working in the dark?
Grow your business easily with freelancers. Fiverr.
Why are Force Factor vitamins so popular at Walmart? Force Factor uses the highest quality ingredients to deliver powerful, healthy results from delicious and convenient supplements. That's why friends and family recommend Force Factor. Rush to Walmart and unleash your potential with Force Factor.
One of your favorite components is in some big trouble. For 11 boys is under criminal investigation for allegedly stealing security money. Now remember, she spent more than $500,000 on her private security since getting elected. And don't forget that she funneled at least $60K of that campaign money to her now husband. Now Bush says she's cooperating with the investigation and claims that she paid her hubby at or below a fair market rate. That sounds like Bonnie Willis. And of course, she's taking zero responsibility.
Right-wing organizations have lodged baseless complaints. In particular, the nature of these allegations have been around my husband's role in the campaign. I retained my husband as part of my security team to provide security services because he has had extensive experience with the
Joining me now to react, Ben Devenich, editor-at-large for The Spectator, and Saul Weisenberg, former deputy independent counsel, both are Fox News contributors. Saul, how serious could these charges be?
Well, it's hard to tell right now, but let me make an obvious point. The Department of Justice is not a right-wing organization, and it's been very political, and it's been very political going against conservatives and Republicans. So the fact that they are actively investigating, I think, is very significant. There are really three legal issues here. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, it must be pretty bad if the Biden DOJ is actually going after her. So that's my reaction to this. I mean, it's got to be a pretty, terrible set of facts for her.
I would be very worried, and keep in mind, the 500,000 figure you mentioned,
That is astronomical compared to the security figures that most Congress people spend. So I'd be very worried if I were her. There are three real issues. Number one, were they necessary, these expenses? Were they at fair market value? And perhaps most importantly, how were they reported? All very pertinent questions.
Well, Ben, remember, she came out of the Ferguson riots. I mean, she was a local activist. Was she local mayor? I can't even remember. But she came over like whipping everybody up into a frenzy after Ferguson. And she rode that to fame. And people thought she was a future leader of the Democrat Party.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that the visual here, we'll find out, how bad the actual facts of this case are, as Saul was alluding to. But the visual here is terrible, of course, which is that we have seen time and again the hypocrisy of those on the left who want to deny police protections for average Americans across the country, who want to pull back from the kind of communities that need the kind of policing that keeps those communities safe, and at the same time spend extraordinary amounts on their own personal protection, making sure that they can just glide above everyone else. And this is the same type of elitist left attitude that we see across the board from them, whether it's on issues of climate, whether it's on issues of personal security, whether it's on issues of taxes or any of the other kind of things that we've seen them hit with. And that includes, of course, the BLM money that was absolutely squandered in ways that we have never fully been able to calculate.
She never also apologized for the hands up, don't shoot. All of that was false. That was used as a battering ram, against a sane understanding of what happened in Ferguson. That was like none of that ever happened. Just pretended the facts were otherwise. Now, Saul, Cori Bush's husband was actually confronted about his role in her campaign late last year. He seemed a little confused.
What's your role in the campaign right now?
My role in the campaign.
You're still part of it?
Still deployed with it?
Yeah.
Yes. So I was there for work. I'm not a politician, man. So ask me a question, man. I'll answer. So what's your question?
That was it. About the campaign.
So, they give me the impression that they haven't really thought this whole thing through. It was just like a personal piggy bank that they could use. Again, something that the people of Ferguson, people of St. Louis, they don't have the right to just go to a personal piggy bank to protect their houses, but Cori's an exception. She deserves all the protection she can get.
Well, you mentioned something very important. Thinking things through becomes very important when you're under criminal investigation. And things that you say when you're confronted by the press in situations like this become very important. No, you can't be charged for that, but they can be instrumental in proving intent. So he needs to be very careful.
And racism is involved in this, obviously, because the DOJ is clearly operating on a racial lens, and she's obviously that's going to be the next.
That is the go-to immediately, no matter what situation.
The refuge of scoundrels. Ben and Saul, thank you so much. All right, could Elon Musk's new brain technology help us better understand Joe Biden? And what's got San Fran Grand Nan Pelosi so angry? The one and only priest of high fashion and comedy, Jimmy Fallon, joins us next.
My name is Liz. I was a nurse over 40 years, and I'm still working in the health field. Balance of nature is the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning.
My name is Barbara, and I'm a registered nurse, and I take balance of nature. I really love gardening. I love being outdoors, and I love watching things grow. I believe in balance of nature, and I really love it.
I love gardening. I go out every day. I like getting dirty. When I first came here, the backyard was more or less barren, and I sort of filled it in with all the plants that I love, and I love seeing them grow. Balance of nature has made a big change around it. I don't feel 87 years. I feel like a kid inside.
Our New Year's offer will end on January 31st. Order today to get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement with your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code Fox News.
These business owners need cash fast. They turn to Biz2 Credit to fund what's next. In the studios, medical offices, every small business.
The bush.
Whether you need new equipment, wants to expand, or need money to cover
oversee business expenses, Biz2 Credit is the trusted partner for your small business funding needs. Scan your code on your screen now or go to biz2credit.com to apply. Biz2 Credit, funding less hats.
Of course,
Oh, bush.
it's how about vehicles too. You need Battletech all year round. Come on, protect your investment. Laser measure floor liners and cargo liner will shield the carpeting from sand and snow. For your interior, there's seat protector and sunshade, plus mud flaps and bump step for the exterior. Order American-made products at WeatherTech.com. Surf's up. Yeah, right.
This is what it feels like to file with TaxSlayer.
I'm the refund boss. All your refunds belong to me.
Nope, not today.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund.
Any time of year is a bad time if you're an animal who's being abused or neglected. But winter can make the suffering even worse for these animals. Many who've been left outside in the cold.
The endless suffering, endless pain, just lack of hope. There is no shortage of cruelty out there.
This winter, please help by visiting our website, scanning the QR code, or calling this number, and signing up with your $19 monthly donation. Every new donor we get means we can rescue more animals from harm and give them the warmth of loving arms. With your support, they'll get emergency medical care, food, and shelter. We need 3,000 new donors in the next 30 days, so we can rescue the animals who are fighting to stay alive this winter. 63 cents a day is all it takes to save an animal's life.
It's really the support that comes in from people that care that really is the engine that keeps us going.
And because the situation is so urgent, we're asking you to join in the next 10 minutes. And if you do, we'll send you this free welcome kit with our member magazine, the photo of a rescued animal, and this Animal Champion t-shirt. This limited edition item won't last, so act now to get yours today. It's a season of great suffering for too many animals, and if there was ever a time to help, this is it. Please, go online, call, or scan now.
It takes special dedication to care for our elderly, especially when they need it most.
At Visiting Angels, we help seniors remain independent and safe in their own home.
And give families that special peace of mind, knowing that their loved ones have the best care possible.
American seniors need our helping hand. So if you care about caring, come on and join our team.
America's choice in home care.
Hey, how you doing?
Buckle up. Sorry about this. As long as it's not a Chinese spy balloon. Sit back.
Instagram should be called "This is what I'd look like if I was hot." Yeah.
And enjoy the ride. Streaming now on Fox Station.
Now it's time for WTF, What the Fela. Joining me now is Jimmy Fela, host of Fox News Saturday Night, author of the new book, Cancel Culture Dictionary, an A to Z guide to winning the war on fun. Oh boy, we all need that. All right, Jimmy, I want to be in that promo with you in the cab. I demand to be in one of those scenes with you. Congrats on all of that. We'll get to your book in a minute, Jimmy. But Elon Musk now says that Neuralink startup has you got the chip now and its first human brain. And once it's fully developed, it can have all kinds of cognitive benefits. So it made us think here on the angle, do you think it could help with understanding this guy?
And by the way, it used to make beer blue here. It is used to make blue beer to this plant. Oh, Earth Riders, thanks for the Great Lakes. I wonder
Oh, no. No, you didn't. Okay, can I offer an honest opinion? Because you kind of sucker punched me with that clip. Wow.
Yeah.
I have a theory that Elon Musk actually put one of the chips in Biden and it's not working. Because
shorted.
Laurel, this is the first president who speaks at the United Nations and has his remarks
Let me save this. Trump probably been playing a while too.
He's the only man we know who quits talking in the middle of a sentence because he's dumb. He's sending in the punt team on second down. So my
Alright, we'll catch you guys next time, alright? Peace out.
my theory is they tried and it didn't help.
He has a little trick when he loses his caboose of thought where he starts a sentence, then he says, look, I'm not going to get into that. Like that.